Welcome into the End of Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, as we take a look at the Friday card for Friday the 13th at Keeneland, headlined by the Buffalo Trace Franklin County Stakes for filly and mare sprinters going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. And these races, more often than not, Jim, come up with big fields, and it's a tough handicapping challenge, and that's once again what we have here. Where did you land?
I don't think I've ever handicapped a 5.5 furlong race that I was confident about. It's all about the trip. It's all about getting out of the gate, and those horses on the outside have to have a clear shot. So this is a scramble. Miss Ella is probably going to be the favorite because she won this race last year. I really don't like the one hole for her style of running. Last year when she won it, she was in the 9 hole, and that suits her perfectly because she's going to come from way out of it. So I'm afraid she's going to get shuffled back with some traffic there, so I'm not going to use her on top. The 4 Kasuga for Bill Mott really moved up last time at Kentucky Downs, and those Kentucky Downs horses have run well here. And she's got enough positional speed that she actually doesn't have much speed to her inside, so she's going to inherit the lead. So I think that the position draw for her with Le Peru is absolutely perfect. Lull, the 6, has faced much better horses, has lost to Laura Cornell and New Money Honey, has beaten a couple nice horses. Morticia, the other horse I'm going to talk about in a minute, beat her 3 back. But I think Lull likes it here and comes out of the leggy sprint at Kentucky Downs and won there by 2. So I think that she's got a big shot. I think Morticia has a big shot for Rusty Arnold. Coming out of the same race, got beat by 2 1/4, just kind of gave up after up on the pace. And always thinking the 8 has a shot for Tom Albertrani, and I think the 14, if she draws in, Marquis Cow Gal, who ran right behind my top choice, Kasuga, last time out. I'm going to take Kasuga the 4 and hope she gets a good trip. I think it does set up very well for her from that inside draw, but you got those closers on the outside that always seem to get up and make a 5.5 furlong race a tough one to handicap. But the 4 Kasuga is my pick here.
There are a lot of different resources that horse players have access to at the Keeneland meet, and we've got our podcast. You've got various forms of things that go out on social media throughout the day. Jeremy Plunk does a chunk of it, and one of the things he does on the Keeneland website is analysis of some historical trends of various classifications of races. And in turf sprints, I've seen him use this stat several times in recent years. Just for whatever reason, the 2, I think it's 2, 3, and 4. I'm sure he'll have the stat in his coverage, but I think it's the 2, 3, and 4 posts have a real propensity to hit the board and win. 1 is not good, and you get further outside, not good. So all that's being a long-winded way to say I'm going to try Just a Lady out of the 2 hole because I think there's going to be a really good price there in this field, and with that draw. And she's got improving form for Asmussen. I think she can hit the board. I'm not real wild about her as a win candidate, so she might be one to play like key 2nd and 3rd in tries, or I'll use her. I'm going to key her in exactas and try to get her up for 2nd. Maybe she could win, but if she could get 2nd at a good price, I'm going to have her with Lull and Morticia and Kasuga, and I'm going to just include Miss Ella, even though I don't like the post because of her class. So I'm going to use all 4 of those, but key off Just a Lady, the 2 horse in there, and try to take a little unconventional handicapping angle to get to a good cash, if not necessarily picking a winner. Let's go back to the 7th race to start the late pick 4 on the Friday card, and there's always a guarantee on this presented by TVG on the Friday cards at Keeneland, and got really challenging pick 4, Jim. It starts with a 2-year-old maiden race, and they go 7 furlongs. And I always think it's fun this time of year as the 2-year-old stretch out to 7 furlongs or 2 turns, and you can get some good prices if you're reading pedigrees and improvement right. Who did you land on here?
I landed on Trapezoid for Brett Calhoun, 2 for 2 at 1 at Ellis and 1 at Churchill, and at 6 furlongs both times, and stretching out to 7. Looks like with his running style, he ought to love the stretch out, and he got a bad start last time out and still won by almost 4 lengths in an optional 75,000. So it's a logical move up for him. An allowance race at Keeneland. I think Trapezoid fits the race well, and if you got some pace to run at, and I think he's going to, I think it sets up well for him. Promises Fulfilled, the 5 for Romans, shows a lot of speed, along with Nicky's Papa outside for Joan Scott. The other horses that I would use in pick 4, Psychoanalyze, you always got to throw Le Peru in, and he comes out of the hopeful, even though he wasn't really competitive at 26-1. The Sanford, he ran a little bit better behind Ferenz Fire, who came back and won the Champagne last weekend. So he only was 6 lengths behind there. Took a step back at Saratoga, may not have liked the track and may have just been in over his head. So Psychoanalyze has a real shot here. And the 7-horse Smart Remark, who is really kind of the hot horse when he opened at maiden special weight at Indiana. He got a lot of buzz around here for Vicky Oliver. Did not run well in the Iroquois, but may have a shot here to hit the board at a price. So my pick is Trapezoid. I will use those other 3 in the pick 4.
I ended up going to Psychoanalyze in here. I like the experience edge. There's a couple of good fields. Ferenz Fire came back and won the Champagne, and Free Drop Billy came back and won the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity here. Even though he didn't run great, he certainly was with good company. And Le Peru is one of the go-to guys for trainer Brian Lynch when he's looking to fire. So I'm going to take Psychoanalyze here, use Promises Fulfilled, Dreamer's Point, and Trapezoid with Psychoanalyze as my key horse. Get to the and I'm going to use all 4 of those in the pick 4. So tell you what, Jim, why don't you go ahead and just take us through your pick 4, and then I'll come back with mine.
Okay, my pick 4 is the 4 we talked about in the 7th, 2579. I could not find a single, so it's going to be a little expensive ticket, but it's not too wide. I'm not taking any alls today. In the 8th race, I'm going to go with the 2789 True Boots, Awestruck, Abundant Flurry at a price, and Laney, Eddie Canelli's horse, is my top pick. 7 furlong race at Churchill was very impressive, and I think she's going to come back with a real shot. So 2789 in the 8th race. In the 9th that we talked about with the feature race, the Buffalo Trace Franklin County, I'm going to go 4-6-7-8. That's Kasuga, Lull, Morticia, and Always Thinking. So 4 deep by 4 deep by 4 deep. And then last leg, started a single for $32. I really couldn't get to that single. So I wound up using the 2 droppers from maiden 50 down to 30,000 that looked like they had good form the last time out. That's United Patriot for Brad Cox, the 3-horse, and Corey Lannery, and Magnanimous Man for Wesley Ward, dropping from a 50 to 30,000. So I'm going to use 3-7. So my pick 4 is 2579 with 2789 with 4678 with 37, $64.
I'm going to start the first leg with 3 horses: Psychoanalyze, Promises Fulfilled, and Dreamer's Point. I would like to include Trapezoid too, but the tickets getting more would get up higher than I like to focus on for this exercise. If your budget allows, I'll throw that out there. Trapezoid's the one I'm leaving out on my ticket. The next race, 7, 8, 9, you mentioned. I've got those as well, plus Dominette. I like that cut back from a longer race on that demanding Kentucky Downs course. I think she ought to be really fit. I'm going to use the 5 I mentioned in the Buffalo Trace Franklin County, the 4 more likely winners, and then adding Just a Lady. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 there. In the last race, I'm going to use Not Fake News, the 11, class drop for Ramsey, Maker, Le Peru. So I think that one's one I want to have on my ticket. And Magnanimous Man's the other one. United Patriots, the next one I had on my list. So it's just kind of, managing the budget. So I'm going to leave him off and go just with 7 and 11 there. But United Patriot was the next one that I had on my list here. So I've got 4, 5, 9 by 4, 7, 8, 9 with 4, 7, 8, 9 with 1, 2, 6, 4, 7 with 7, 11 for my pick 4. Best of luck on your Friday wagers. And big Saturday coming up with the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup and big fields. It's going to be a fun handicapping day. And then Sunday, you were running your annual contest that is exciting for the players who get in that, Jim.
We are. I've been working on that all week, and right now we're sitting at 148 entries at $3,000 an entry. So they'll be in the Lexington, Kentucky room on the 4th floor. So it's a big contest. We give away 6 BCBC spots and probably 10 NHC spots, along with about $50,000 in cash. So it's a big deal. We got people coming from all over the country, and this is our largest field so far in our fall tournament. I had 170 in my spring tournament. I'm at 147, 148 right now, probably looking at 160. So I'm going to have a busy weekend, but it's a fun tournament. One of the twists that we have in there is that when you get to a certain point in the 8th and 9th race, you must bet half your bankroll. So we've had people sitting at $15,000 or $20 have to make a decision to bet half their bankroll on one of the last two races. Gets rather binding at the end.
And I will say what you won't say, which is that players love the way that you run the contest and the way Keeneland runs it, and so they guys like Jonathan Kinchin, Nick Tamaro that we've interviewed before, the Keeneland Select fan days, they always rave about this particular contest and how well it's run. So good luck with that. Everybody else, good luck with your Friday wagers. We'll be back with another edition of the End the Money podcast on Saturday to preview the QE2 and the Late Pick 4 here on the End the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.